Partnered by Times Influence.
In a rapidly evolving business world, it is imperative for the companies to align goals and objectives of employees with the corporate. Hence, Symbiosis Institute of Operations Management organized the 9th HR Summit 2018, a one-of-its-kind thought leadership platform which was aimed to recognize the evolving role of HR in providing a seamless experience for current employees, potential employees and consumers. The day-long summit witnessed engaging discussions by eminent HR professionals and thought leaders from across the industry, and we bring to you the highlights of this summit.
We, on behalf of the Symbiosis family, take immense pride in welcoming you all the HR Summit 2018. Started in the year 2009, HR Summit has been the flagship event of Symbiosis Institute of Operations Management and the entire Symbiosis family. We proudly present the theme this year, HR Consumerization, Harnessing Business Excellence Through Employee Experience. HR Summit 2018 would not have been possible without the generous support that our sponsors have provided us throughout. Our media and news partner, ET Now and the Economic Times. Our official floral partner, Florista. Luxury gift partner, Malaki. Our official confectionery partner, Let's Chocolati. Our global rewards partner, Zozo Day. Our official knowledge partner, Novarex. Fragrance partner, Kiva. Our wellness partner, O2 Spa. Our official gift partner, The Soul Store. Our supporting partner, McDonald's. Our official business magazine partner, Business Outlook.
We would now like to invite Dr. Vandana Sonwane onto the dais to share her thoughts and ideas regarding the event.
Talent, leadership, and knowledge are today's currencies for competitiveness. At SIM, we believe that leadership, talent, and these competencies are nurtured by developing special skills amongst the future leaders. I think I'm one of the few educationists who say that students are not, or aspirants are not my customers. Industry is my customer. With this ethos in mind, with these philosophies in mind, we came out with this thought of HR consumerization. Currently, in the 21st century workplace, everything is changing at an accelerated pace. And I think HR must envision the future and make a move to address all the crises that we are feeling in the employee engagement. Hence, creating a workplace as an experience becomes very important. That is why the theme, HR consumerization and how to harness it. Thank you so much.
We have our inaugural speaker for the day, Major Vandana Sharma.
Why do you think an organization which has lakhs of soldiers or young officers who go and lead them into battle, how do they motivate them? The soldier is trained to fight external aggression. So the answer lies in the ethos, the coaching, the mentoring, and the training that goes with making the officers who they are and training the soldiers to be who they are. But there are so many other things that no matter how much you're prepared theoretically, it's only the experiential learning that trains you for it. I don't think any amount of theoretical training can teach you that sort of education. So, experiential learning and the role of your immediate officers or leaders or bosses becomes really important in strengthening you up and training you for life skills and becoming better leaders. I've always enjoyed working with young students and young founders, and a whole lot of them always told me when I was a software engineer, I hated the HR. I had no idea how important this role is and the kind of conflicts or dynamics which are there in the organization that I'm having to deal with as a founder now. That's the part I need somebody to come in and understand and handle. So that becomes a very important part of their learning. I would just want to quote what Toffler said, that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Thank you so much.
I thought it was important
Up next, we have Raghunandan of Hitti Manufacturing India to shed more light on the changing business roles of a CHRO.
Changing business role of a CHRO. Typically, I get a lot of this, HR and business should work together. For me and my team, we decided that's not a sentence we like. We rather think of it like this, that HR is a business with a portfolio of assets under management. And the reason we do that is to bring a sharp focus on moving from the word soft skills into driving what is a very important asset in the company. Each team leader has a responsibility to build an environment. So we believe that culture and leadership drives employee, let's call it satisfaction, that creates happy customers. And that's, I think, the role of the CHRO in the years forward.
Next up, we have Rajendra Ghag to speak on how employee motivation has proven to enhance business performances in India.
Even HR is a human being, correct? So I'm telling my next in line that what conversation do you have with your HR? In fact, yesterday, I think my next in line was supposed to be my, let's say, successor. But I said, how regularly you have, because we are telling others, but did you have conversation with your next 7 or 5, whatever that you have, on a weekly basis? And a conversation. It's not a review, because sometimes you tend to say that, anyway, I'm meeting every day, I informally walk into your office and we chat. Now, if you don't really design your mind and saying that chat is just a chat, correct? But did you really then ask me as to, what's bothering you? Why are you a little, let's say low on energy today, correct? Is there something that we need to do? Is there a kind of process understanding issue? Or you have some other issue, correct? You don't have to get into personal stuff immediately, but they open up.
Welcome back. Next up, a panel of industry experts took to the stage to discuss the growth, the obstacles, and the mindset that goes into the hiring of a diverse set of professionals who push the boundaries on a project-by-project basis. Let's listen in.
Just to begin with, gig is any kind of flexible workforce. It's a word used for a flexible workforce which adds value to the enterprise. Mr. Harpreet, what do you think that what should be the HR strategy for managing gig workforce?
We are very concerned pertaining to gig workforce coming in, the terminologies about gig. The only thing what is happening right now is it's moved up the rank. So from the lower strata, it is now affecting the white collar jobs. So let's talk about engagement. So how do you engage people who are temporary? You give them benefits, okay? You give them flexibility. As far as policies are concerned, Shruti, somewhere or the other, I feel that this is the workforce which does not want to be tied down.
To Mr. Anthony, what is the role of vendor management in gig workforce?
So vendor management today is the most talked word in organizations as the gig economy is really becoming big. Because gone are the days where the contribution of the gig economy in organizations were limited. Today, that is the strength which is becoming larger than the established fixed workforce. Today, we have consultants who just work for us for a fixed term. We sign up agreements with them for some specific skills. And when it comes to vendors who provide this, compliance becomes a core forte. The vendor management had a different level about 10, 15 years back to what is today. Today, vendor management means to know the complete element of compliance, complete element of accountability that is put onto the vendor. And that makes gig economy more advantageous for larger organizations because they can be pulled back, they can be questioned, there can be a financial impact put onto the vendor, there can be an element of improvement brought about in vendors and their services.
What are your thoughts on culture assimilation for gig workforce?
I actually strongly feel that, how we onboard the employees, we should have a special plan for the gig workers too, the freelancers too. So now the future is gig economy. So we need to make a platform for that. So we should build a network.
Ramendra, I would like to ask that how rapid technology is going to impact the morale and motivation of people.
To a large extent, the definition of gig, there are a lot of things which, today people are doing more on manual side. We have these small robots, which will do these very small activities. Okay, so I would say that is the first level of, at least the workforce we have, which is automating those small tasks and eliminating the need of a lot of operational activities. Second, so eventually what is happening is that within our organizations, we are seeing that a lot of operational role will get automated. We are regularly working on things related to AI. AI is still, in the nascent stage, I would say, but the progress is really fast. So many organizations today are adopting probably HR bots. These are conversational bots. The way I want to interact with an HR person, I want to have, a device which can just interact with me. Over the period of time, we are hoping that this device as well as this robot will be empathetic, will be able to get, some, I would say, human element to it. The way I see it is that, once you have got a person in the team, it's like a team. Whether you are from outside, from inside, it doesn't really matter. As a leader of a project or operations, you need to make sure that everyone is delivering his best.
How do you think the employee life cycle management of gig workforce can be done effectively so that their productivity is, maximum benefiting to the organization?
So I'll tell you very honestly, from an employee management perspective, we should not treat them as gig workers or contractual laborers. I think that's the first mistake that we normally do. Second aspect that we somewhere or the other forget is that gig workers would work harder than normal employees. Why? Because I don't have a foundation to be with them. So therefore, they would work on every project much more effective than any other employee.
With an idea that HR needs to take the lead in creating and encouraging a culture of collaboration and a cohesive team, a panel of HR professionals came together to talk about putting the human back in the human resources.
So this panel discussion, I would say, is designed by choice from the point of view of students, but it is designed by fate for all of us. So I would request all of you to share your part of the story where you felt you got the experience of human side of HR.
Restructuring is a known devil for last decade now. Yeah. And no organization, especially in VUCA world today, is untouched by it. Because of that restructuring, some of our old timers who have spent 20 years with us were being asked to leave. As HR, we looked at all the opportunities that might be possible in other business units. And instead of letting go of those people, we actually strategically placed them in different business units. So it's all about problem solving, solution orientation, and somewhere that human element creeps in on its own. HR exists because we are humans.
This is an interesting point because I do believe the fact that human resources will continue to be the most strategic function in an organization. Now coming to the point of the receiver side of it, actually it happened to me. There was a medical emergency in my home and actually we lost someone who was very, very dear. And my manager at that point of time understood that how big a loss it was for me. That gentleman, along with my operations director, wrote a mail to everyone that this is what Amit has undergone. Nobody would reach out to him for any official work till the time he chooses to come back. It took me about 2.5 to 3 weeks to kind of come out of that trauma. That's what human resources needs to focus on. How we are able to deal with situations with empathy, with care.
If you really look at human side of HR, if we talk about that, the first thing what I feel is that what is the difference between being a good human being versus human side of HR. And that's where the role of HR comes in. So I was a very junior person at that point of time, joined a new organization and working very hard on the compensation. Then I went into my head of HR's cabin. Before even looking into the proposal, he said, Sudipto, tell me one thing, have you done it like an accounts person or like an HR person? That gave me an insight that, in compensation and in HR, we generally get into so much of analysis, so much of numbers, so much of these things that we forget the human emotion.
So for me personally, I think the ultimate pinnacle frontier for HR in today's world is to say that how do I transform currently what is an employee experience to a human experience? Who is really responsible for driving that human element of HR in the organization? Some of the companies that have really done well, where the entire DNA, the DNA of a culture is strongly driven by the human aspect or the human experience of human resources, are the ones where it is a collective effort. It's not a liability where one particular department is really owning it. With the recent change in the maternity leave, so we had one employee who came back, joint work, and it was a good opportune moment to display human element and recognize it. So we wanted to make it so much more special. So on the first day of joining, small things were planned. You had a bouquet of flower, spoke about her experience, asked her, how easy or difficult is it for you to really come back? What are you looking ahead?
We had a case where, very similar to what Subhi was talking about, where the numbers were large. It went to the boardroom, and as usual, you would have the CFO putting the numbers on the table and saying, yes, it's got to be done now. I said, if you really want to do it, you have to give me a year. I want you to give me a free hand for a year, and I would like to do it very, very differently. I would like to do it in a human side. The board and the chairman said, what do you want to do? What we simply did, we first moved a lot of counselors into that place, talking to employees, families. Every family was touched. We did totally around 27 initiatives going around for 1 year.
Wow.
And end of it, when we actually said, no employee will come and ask for a VRS, the whole family has to sign. Because the family should not be surprised that the husband has gone and given a VRS application and it gets accepted, and then they don't have a line of sight what to do next. And this investment is very important.
We are ending with the action-packed behavior of HR when we talk about human side of it. So thank you so much, all of the panelists. We had a great discussion. Thank you so much.
Welcome back. Next up, in an increasingly competitive market, companies are more conscious in recruiting, attracting and retaining talent. With that thought in mind, the third panel discussion focused on understanding today's HR's vision and strategies to retain the talent pool.
Welcome to this panel. Let me start with Vajanti. How do you see the recruitment and retention trends at HCCB?
The needs of talent acquisition are the same. The challenges in talent acquisition are the same. The industry itself is a degrowing industry. The consumer demand for beverages, particularly carbonated soft drinks, has changed given the whole health concept. India as a market has become largely very localized. But today across the country you have this whole demand for localized product, the localized palette, whether it's food, beverages, whatever. Why would a guy want to sell on the streets when he can work in a retail outlet? And that's the big challenge.
See, my story is like this. I worked in only one company. I may be the only person in this room who would have worked in one company in the last 21 years. I'll point out the three things which made us work in such organizations. First is compensation. Second is culture. And third is career.
So let me go to Rajesh. Mattel is all about play, learning and development. Yeah. How do you see these three things creeping into the recruitment and retention strategies that you all have?
The recruitment and retention space, let me just talk a little bit about what we have been doing. I think what really is important is what's your story. It's all about you to start engaging them much before you really hire them. So while it can be done in the campus engagement, but more than that, when you're hiring lateral people, you have to really show them the organization even before they get in the organizations. And it's about the entire experience that you create for them. So in terms of, all the touch points in terms of, let's say, when you call a candidate to the point of entire engagement and then, it goes back, the entire experience has to be really wow. It has to be really playful experience. When I say playful in the sense, it need not be very stressful.
Dr. Anjan, back in India here, how do you bring in this element of happiness into your processes, recruitment processes?
Frankly, we don't have to do much. We are into the candy business. Whilst you are in the happy category, one of the things that all of us as professionals face is, at the end of the day, it's business as usual. The reality when it hits up is that if you're in a shortened business cycle, do we nearly need to retain people? And that at the stake of being very provocative, saying that do I recruit for the tenure or do I recruit for the capability I want to be in?
Or for a particular outcome.
That's correct. And I think increasingly organizations are realizing that, hey, you might be a hypo, but we would request that or require that capability from you for till such time as strategy works for 3 years, and we'll hunt for something else. Earlier, we were very, very concentrated on recruiting for the function. Increasingly, we will be faced with profiles of these generation where functions will be blurred, right? So you will be, again, going back to the drawing board saying, hey, let's talk capability. Increasingly, talent is becoming intellectual property. We have to be very conscious of the fact that employee brand and the employer brand synergy is happening increasingly.
Mr. Naveen, how do you look at reaching out to people, attracting them, typically, to join JSW?
Today, attracting a talent has become much, much easier. So as against the regular talent attraction from your competition, steel, they were limited 4, 5. Couple of them have already gone under. Yeah. Today, we actually attracting people from all walks of sectors. We have people from consulting background, people from, a lot of B2C, brands also coming in. A lot of fundamental, blocks which has been put in place. And if I look back, one is definitely the DNA of the group. If I may use the word, there's an animal instinct for growth, and second parallel is that 4 years back I said I had not followed the brand. Today I'm sick of seeing JSW name every morning I pick up the paper. I said, can there be a day where I don't see this name being flashed in ET early in the morning? So that's the level of, in terms of their both engagement, their in terms of their intense desire to be the #1 player in the world.
Now call upon Yashamandira ma'am to please address this gathering.
HR consumerization implies a degree of personalization in terms of employee experience. As we come to an end of this event, we go and learn about what the industry details are and the first-hand experiences from esteemed speakers and the panelists on the theme HR consumerization, making the entire effort worthwhile. We'll be back with another edition of HR Summit next year. And as an end is the only beginning in disguise, looking forward to have a sustainable relationship with you all here. Thank you so much.
Next, I would like to call upon the driving force behind HR Summit 2018, the convener, Mr. Utkarsh Gupta.
It's been a wonderful day, full of learnings, new insights for all of us. HR Summit has been the flagship event of SIOM. This wagon started in 2009 and has continued ever since. It's not just an event, but a full-fledged project for our students. We work in cross-functional teams, and it's a live working environment for all of us. And last but not the least, the people for and because of whom this event was conceptualized. All the HR's dignitaries present here, the speakers, the delegates. I thank you all for giving us your valuable time and your lovely presence over here. You have been a great support to all of us. Thank you.
On that positive note, Symbiosis Institute of Operations Management's HR Summit 2018 concluded, helping students and industry experts build better businesses with a humane face and consumer-type experience to shape the organizational structure.
These forums are very, very important. Why? Because not only from a perspective of keeping the fraternity alive, not only from a perspective of value addition, but also from a perspective of bringing people together.
HR Summits obviously gives this connect between institution and industry interaction.
HR Summit was a great experience. One is to meet the students of today's generation, interact with them, get to understand their challenges, and at the same time connect with many corporates.
I take this as an opportunity to learn and improve myself and my business skills.
It's a moment of pride for all of us at SIOM.
Partnered by Times Influence.